guys, welcome to my channel. It's Kita, and today I have a story time that I never really shared publicly, but I'm in the mood today. I don't know if to name this story time My Neighbor Set Her House on Fire on Purpose or My Landlord from Hell, because it was both in one and we're gonna get into it. So it was 2 years ago, my 25th birthday. I was woken up by my daughter. She came running in the room saying, Mom, there's a fire. So me now, I'm sleeping and I'm thinking, what is Maya talking about? I don't know what she's referring to. Mind you, at this time, I am pregnant. I was due in September. So I was a good couple months pregnant. And, I just wanted to lay down. So of course I got up, and she's happened to sleep in the room with her brother that night because she didn't want to be alone in her room. So it's probably a good thing too, because I would have never known what was going on. So I got up, I went to her brother's room. Her brother's sleeping in the crib. He's 2 at the time, I believe. Yes, he's 2 at the time. I go in the room and I just see out of his window just flames going out the side of his window. So immediately I just get into like action mode. So I don't know. I didn't think about anything else. My mind just went to the house is going to collapse. I don't know where that panic and anxiety set in, but to me, the house was just one part of it is going to collapse and I'm going to get stranded in the house with the kids and the house is going to set on fire. So I just immediately grabbed my son out. He's still sleeping, mind you, poor him. I just grab him out the crib. And I tell my daughter, let's go run, get your shoes on one time. Now, I had on like a big t-shirt dress, no bra. I had no bra. I had my mix in because remember, it's my birthday and I'm going to put this wig on my head. So I thought. So I'm not thinking about any of that. I'm in action mode. So I grab my kid, I grab my son, I grab my daughter, I grab the keys that had the car keys on it as well, and I put on some slides and we dash outside one time. No sticking. There's no sticking. I don't need nothing else. Of course, I have my phone as well, which was already in my hand. So we rush outside. I rush downstairs. Now, mind you, this is a private house, but the way the private house is set up is one house and then it has like a sister house. So the houses are very close together. Now I rush downstairs, and as I reach downstairs, there's a little boy, which is my neighbor's son. He's probably like 3, and he's just standing in the house, but the door is kind of open. He's standing at the door staring at me. So I am thinking, let me grab this kid because I don't know what's happening, but then I don't want to grab people's children. But what if, I don't know, because there's smoke coming out of the house and, it's obviously their fire. So my head is in save mode, and I'm like, let me take this kid out the fire because he's standing in the house in the smoke. So as I go to reach for him, the mother is standing in the house just staring. So I want to know if me and her seeing 2 different things, because I know I see a fire and smoke and she's still standing there in the house with the smoke. So I'm looking at her, she's looking at me, and she's like, did you call 911?
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
So I'm like, did you call 911? You're standing in smoke, sis. But I said, you know what, maybe she don't got a phone, but where's your panic? Like, she's not running out the house, she's just literally standing there. But you know what too, sometimes people get into this shock mode where something is happening and they just freeze up. So I thought that's what was happening. So I was like, I'm calling right now. But then a neighbor from across the street was yelling, saying, I called 911 already. So I'm like, okay, I'm waiting for the lady to run out the house. She didn't run out the house. So she just kind of held her son's hand. So I said, all right. I go with my son, I go with my daughter, I run. We run down the block. We run across the street. And I said, let me call my boyfriend. He was at work. So I call him and I'm like, I don't know what's happening. Like, there's a fire next door. So at that time, it wasn't that big. It was, obviously there was fire coming from the window in the back, but from the front, it just seemed like a lot of smoke. So I was like, there's something happening right now. And he's like, are you guys at the house? I said, I ran out the house. I don't know, but you might have to leave work. So he told his boss, And his boss said, you know what, go ahead, deal with your family, take care of that, you know, you're good to go. So he jumped on wherever he started traveling home. He jumped on the train to come home. Meantime, the neighbors start coming out. More neighbors are coming outside now because now the smoke is getting worse and the fire is getting bigger. And all of a sudden, I just see my front windows now. Smoke is just coming out the windows. So now I'm in panic mode and I'm like, oh my God, her fire just came over into my house. I'm just there outside with a big t-shirt on, big belly, whatnot. So the neighbors are looking at me, you know, obviously they're concerned. They're asking me, you know, if you need anything. There was one lady that offered me some clothes if I would need, because it just looked like that type of situation now. So I was very grateful for them just being kind. But my concern was just on, is everything going to be all right? Are we going to have a home to live in? And is everyone okay? At that time, you start hearing firefighters. The firefighter truck, sirens is blazing. You're hearing them down the block, just a bunch of them. Probably 3 came and then a bunch more came. The chief came. At this point, they done set up a table with donuts and coffee for the firefighters. So I'm like, okay, it's obviously that type of party. So the firefighters come, they're doing their thing. One come across the street because someone pointed out that I am the neighbor. And he asked me, is this a vacant house? The one next door that's blazing. He's like, is this a vacant house? Did you see anyone home? And I'm like, yeah, the lady and her son was there. So they're like, there's no one in the house. She's not across the street. She's not standing in the crowd of people. And then I just happened to look up the block, and who do I see? I see Miss Lady standing behind a tree, peeping. And she's behind a tree like, so I'm like, hold up. So I point her out because, hello. So I'm like, she's right there. She's right over there hiding. So they're like, oh, wait. So they go up the block to her. I guess they start talking to her. And she just kept getting further and further away from the fire. Nobody knows where the little boy went. He kind of disappeared, but there was no one in the house. So anyway, they're going. I call my landlord. I'm telling her. First, also, I'm skipping steps. I called her after I called my boyfriend, and I told her, hey, I think you should come over here. The neighbor's house is on fire and it's coming into the house. So she immediately is on go mode because her mom lives downstairs, but her mother was not home at the time. Her mother was at work. So eventually the landlord, her mom, her sister comes over. Everyone is just over there watching this scene. My boyfriend reaches. My mom comes, she gets the kids because they didn't eat breakfast, you know, the outside early morning, they have on their night clothes. So they go, people are watching me crazy because I'm there in my t-shirt, no bra, just swinging them. Anyway, so eventually, I guess they get the fire under control and they cannot find Miss Lady. Miss Lady is missing. So the Red Cross people were there. They were very helpful in letting us sign up our names, how much people is in the family, and they gave us an on-the-spot card with money on it to help us survive, basically buy food, buy clothes, whatever we need. So I believe it was $500 on the card, and that was a blessing in itself because when we went upstairs, oh my God, there was no ceiling. Now, again, remember, I'm pregnant, so I didn't want to stay upstairs too long, but I was such in shock just seeing everything. I kind of walked slowly, but I had to put on a mask. So when I get up there, the ceiling is on the floor. The firefighters had to spray water and all of that, and everything is just on the floor. It looked like a disaster. The paint, the sheetrock, everything is crumbled on the floor. Everything is wet, mushy. It's like a slide in there. The house smells like burnt toast, just burnt. Everything smells smoky. It's just dull. It looked depressing. I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. And I think I just couldn't help but cry because I'm like, how does this happen? How? So I go in our room, I see my daughter's room, I bought her a pink furry rug. That's completely done. It's black. I went in our room, the My whole dressing table was on the floor. Everything was on the floor. The ceiling is on the floor. That wig I stayed up till 2 a.m. curling up for my birthday. Remember, it's my birthday. Is done. There's sheetrock on the wig, on the floor, wet, dirt, smoke. I was like, there's no way. It was done. There was no electricity, so the lights wasn't working. I went in my son's room. Oh my God. Oh my gosh. The ceiling is on the floor. The window is busted out. The walls is like caved. So you're seeing I don't even know, you're seeing like the wood in the wall. Like it was just that bad. And I just cried and I was like, there's no way. Like my 25th birthday, this is what happens. The landlord comes, she's in shock as well. So she comes upstairs and she's just like, oh my God. She's like, I'm so sorry that this is happening. So the fire chief comes and he's just asking questions about what happened when you woke up. What did you see when you went downstairs to the neighbors? What did you see? So they mentioned that she's a little shady because apparently her house was supposed to be up for foreclosure in a couple of days. And then all of a sudden, her house catches on fire. So I told them she was standing in the fire, in the smoke, just watching, like looking around, watching with no expression. And then she disappears. They could not find her after that. They just could not find her at all. So we were leaning towards this was done on purpose. My landlord tells me that her insurance cover, they're going to take everything in the house, including her mom's stuff. They're going to go and clean it. They're going to take everything out the house and they're going to be renovating it. So they took our couches, they took our clothes, they took our shoes, everything that's in the house, they took it to clean, they put it in storage, whatever the case. I was very thankful for that. And they took her mother's stuff as well. Then she told us that she would put us in a hotel with her mom. So we actually went all together to see one, but we didn't like the first one. And then we ended up at the one we were supposed to go to downtown. Eventually, my landlord tells me that she's going to get a house for us, a temporary house, until they fix up the house that got caught on fire. She doesn't know how long it will be, because I'm like, how long are we going to be out of a house? Like, eventually we may have to start looking for another apartment. And she was saying that if she puts us in another place that's kind of like a temporary apartment with her mom on another, obviously her mother will be in another floor, but in the same building, if we'll do that, and then when the house renovates, we'll go back. So I'm like, well, yeah, that's the plan, sure. Then she tells me that they want a down deposit of, it was almost, how much was it? It was almost $5,000. So I wanted to know if she was smoking crack or what. Because what? She's like, yeah, it has a washer and dryer. Right now they're asking for a down payment of this, a deposit. And I'm like, no. So she's like, you think about it and whatnot. So I'm like, we're not gonna do that, sis. Sorry. She tried to say how nice it was. No, you're out your mind. So we stayed in a hotel. The checkout time was coming. And then she started switching up. So now she's saying, she starts getting a little mouthy, a little irritated because she wanted us to pay her the same rent we were paying at the house, the original house. She wanted us to basically pay her while we're in this temporary apartment, pay her that same rent. Now, at first I was like, okay, but that deposit wasn't it. But I said, okay, you want us to pay the same rent? Okay, so I started hearing her out and it just didn't work out that way. So she started getting irritated. Then I started asking her, okay, where are our stuff? She took it as like, I don't have to do this. I didn't have to do this. You guys are coming to me. You came to me saying, you have to do this ABC. You have to find a place for us. Now, I never asked this lady to find a place for us. I told her they were offering us the shelter. She said, no, you cannot go in the shelter. Don't go in the shelter with your kids. Then I told her how the Red Cross put us in a hotel. Then she's the one who hit me up and said, hey, I have a better hotel for you guys. Now, don't do stuff for people and then basically try to shit on them. Like, she tried to be nice, but she had a secret motive behind it the whole time. So while she's trying to be nice, she's trying to also make money off of being nice. So everything she did, she tried to square back to, and then maybe you can pay me this, that, and that. And it was just like, sis, all right, I have no problem paying for stuff, but stop trying to be sneaky. Time passed, a little time passed, I mean, and I started asking her where the stuff was. Where's the couch? Where's our clothes? Just location wise. And she took it, so she would call me like, Nikita, I'm really not doing this. I'm not doing this. What do you mean? Nobody's stealing your stuff. And I'm like, hey. So I'm like, if you gave your car to your sister, and she said, I'm gonna go clean this car for you. It'll take a couple days. It'll be here and then they'll bring it back. And you ask, okay, where are they taking the car? You're telling me that you shouldn't know? Why can't we know the location of where our stuff has gone? So my thing was, I'm asking you a simple question and you're making it into a big deal. So she's like, didn't have to take anything. I didn't have to do this. I did it out of my kindness. And I'm like, I think you're misunderstanding me. I'm asking you a simple question of where our belongings are. So I know where it's coming from. If it's in Jersey, if it's in blah, 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 at least I know it's coming from blah, blah, blah. It was a big deal. Then she started saying she doesn't know exactly. It's with the whatever company she hired. Then she started digging closer and then she finally provided me with a vague location. Eventually I reached out to my realtor and he found me a new apartment that I liked, a new private house, and I checked it out and we said, we're gonna do it. We're gonna move into it. So I told her that, oh boy, she didn't like that one. She felt like we wasted her time. So you're moving, so you don't want to move back to the house. And I'm like, girl, you don't even know how long it's going to take to fix the place up. I just want my things. So I'm asking for my things is like a big deal just to ask for the things. So eventually she's like, okay, it's going to come on this day. She's going to get a truck. She's like, you have to come and pick up your clothes, like from the cleaning place or whatever. Now, I started asking her, what about the security deposit that we put down? Because it equaled to 1 month rent and I'm supposed to get my money back. My girl then says, okay, I'm going to give it to you. I'm just going to check out the place first. But the last time I checked, the place is done. The ceiling's on the floor. She actually came in there and saw everything. Everything's on the floor. The place is destroyed. What do you have to check out in order to give me my security deposit? Are you gonna come and say, oh, yeah, the paint is chipped in the midst of the fire. Let me not give you, like, I'm just trying to understand. So I'm like, okay, 2 days go by. So I start saying, I feel like you're playing a game now and she's doing it on purpose because we're not moving back to the place. Like she's being spiteful. So I start telling her, why can't you send me my security deposit? And she's saying she has to go and check out the place first. And when she checks it out, she will send me my money. To me, that was bull because the place is done. And you know the place is done. Give me back my money. And you already know our situation. You know we're technically homeless. We want to move. Why would you take long to give me back my security deposit? So that turned into a big thing. And she's going. And she's like, she's just texting. So at that point, we're going back and forth. And she's like, I'm not doing this. She keeps telling me blocked. And I'm like, girl, please, okay? I don't give one shit. Give me my money and that's that. She texts me, she's gonna send it. The next morning, she sent me my deposit right away. Oh, that's what I thought because what happened? So I said, okay, thanks. Then she keeps telling me, blocked. Girl, listen. Sis, I do not care. And I was still texting and she's like, oh, this is harassment. No, it's not. Maybe it is, I don't care. Anyway, so then she texts me that to come pick up the clothes that the truck had brought. So I come to get the clothes now. And I came with my car at the time. Again, I'm pregnant. I didn't have much help. My boyfriend's at work. My kids is with my mom. I'm like, okay, let me just drive the car over there. Like, I'm just thinking, let's just get the clothes. But I underestimated how much clothes it is. Like, it's me, my boyfriend clothes, my daughter clothes. Like, I was just underestimating all of that. So I get there's a bunch of clothes now. The thing can't even fit in the car. Like, all of them. So I'm trying to stuff as much as I can. And I'm like, oh, I never noticed that much clothes. So her mother and her is there talking in the corner. Oh, well, you should have known how much clothes you have. Don't think because I'm pregnant that I won't mouth you off. I still slap you because I'm wondering, what's your problem, bro? So she did with her arm fold up like, and I don't care. Give me my clothes so we could end this. I don't have to talk to you anymore. You don't have to talk to me anymore. So she's standing in front of the same house, right? We met up at the same apartment that she wanted that $5,000 security deposit for. And the thing is broke up. Some old apartment looking like a crackhead apartment. And I'm wondering, she must be out her mind because it's the same address she was telling me. I'm like, this can't be it. So we dodged a bullet with that because I would have been tight as hell if I had agreed to that and stayed in that old broken down apartment for that much money. So I take my clothes, whatever, they go their way. She left me with the stuff still on the stand because she has the attitude and I don't care. So I just made it work. I pushed what I could. I think I called some help. Eventually I had someone come with their car and meet me and they took some clothes in their van. And then we ended up bringing it back to our new apartment that we started renting. Backtrack. First of all, this lady was giving me hell before the fire ever begun. And sometimes I believe that, although it's weird to say, I think things happen in weird ways sometimes just for you to get out of there. Like, the way may have been harsh, the fire and all of that, but without that, we would not have gone out of there so fast. And I feel like we needed to get away from her because there was red flags building up to that. Before even that, first of all, I came in there, there's still stuff in the cabinets, right? So I'm wondering, you're telling me you need to go check the place before you give me my security deposit back, but did you check the place before we moved in? Because we had to do a lot of cleaning. The place was dusty as hell. And remember, I'm pregnant, but I'm thinking, I'm usually a person, I just think of the positive in it. I don't like to make things into a big deal. So I just cleaned it. Me and my boyfriend, we cleaned it. We said, let's dust down, whatever, no biggie. There's like canned food in the cabinets, dust all over the place. Probably a week into moving, I'm in the room and I'm just, it's quiet. There's a bunch of stuff in the living room still. We're basically still moving in. We just brought over our clothes. So I'm sitting down in the room, just taking a breather, and I'm hearing so I'm wondering, what the hell is that? What the hell is that? So I come out in the hallway, I'm kind of tiptoeing. I'm like, I know I'm not bugging, so I stay quiet. And I hear, well, girl, eventually we find out that the place had mice. Now, I hate mice. I cannot do it. So that's my biggest thing. Like, if I see a little cockroach, all right, that's still something, but not as much and not as bad to me as mice. So it wasn't one mouse. It wasn't two mouse. It was mice, and they had a family. And I told her, like, we need an exterminator. My girl tried to send me the cheapest one, tried to say she already sent an exterminator if she can send me a glue trap, if she can send me an electrical trap. No, send me the exterminator. And after I heard from a neighbor that same lady that set her house on fire, the neighbor, ended up fleeing to like Texas. And nobody could find her. So she was just doing shady stuff from the jump. And then she had her a Ring camera or some type of camera that recorded. So the firefighters reviewed the camera footage and seen that at a certain time, her older son went down into the basement and then there was a boom, like a boom. I don't know what happened. And then he came quickly walking up the stairs, back from the basement, just quickly running up the stairs, but nobody runs out. Nobody runs out the house. They all kind of stay in the house. So it definitely was on purpose. They were doing something shady. Their house was supposed to be on foreclosure in a couple of days, and sis had the brightest idea. I don't know if she, probably for money, but again, it was a very selfish move, and nobody could find her after that. It happened in the most weirdest way, and yes, at the time it was very depressing, but there was a reason that we only stayed in that apartment, that house, for 2 months, and then we left. I just look at it like there's a reason we had to get away from this lady. Thank you for listening to my story time, and I hope you like and subscribe for more videos, and I'll see y'all next time.